Silent battlefields, where historic photos whisper the untold stories of war and human memory. On May 11, 1937, the Imperial Japanese Navy aircraft carrier Kaga conducted air operations, demonstrating the country's growing naval power. On board, a series of fighters and bombers were prepared. Mitsubishi B-2M Type 89, Nakajima A-2N Type 90, and Aichi D-1A-1 Type 94. The bustling scene of pilots and sailors showed close coordination, signaling that Kaga was an important platform in the ambition to conquer the Pacific skies. In April 1942, after the daring Doolittle raid, Lieutenant Colonel James Doolittle appeared with his crew alongside Chinese officials in a significant historical moment. The photo taken in China shows Zhao Fuqi, party secretary of the West Zhejiang provincial government, standing on the right. This is a testament to the close cooperation between the Allies and the Chinese resistance forces in the war against Japan. The legendary Mitsubishi A-6M0 fighter, the symbol of the Japanese Air Force in World War II, has now been carefully restored, becoming one of the few Zero models still in existence in the world. After the Pacific War ended, most of the machines that once roamed the skies were destroyed on the spot, often by burning to erase the traces of war. In remote areas, many Zeros were left to gnaw at time, gradually rusting in the deep forests or on the coast, or even dismantled by people to salvage every useful piece of metal. A few lucky ones were sent to Allied countries such as the United States and Australia for technical research. But by the 1950s, most of them were also sold for scrap. It seemed that the traces of the Zero would disappear from history forever. It wasn't until the 1970s, when their historical value and technological prowess were re-evaluated, that the remaining aircraft began to be restored. Each deformed frame and rusted piece of alloy was brought back to life by passionate craftsmen, becoming treasures in museums and exhibitions around the world. Today, each preserved Zero is not only a testament to Japan's pioneering aviation technology, but also a symbol of a bygone era, where the past, memory, and respect for history are all fused together in its slender yet resilient form. The Supermarine Spitfire, the pride of the Royal Air Force, is one of the immortal symbols of World War II. Designed by the genius engineer Reginald J. Mitchell, the Spitfire was not only a fighting machine, but also a testament to the indomitable spirit and creative intelligence of Britain during the war. With an all-metal fuselage, elegant elliptical wings, and powerful Rolls-Royce Merlin engines, the Spitfire possessed outstanding speed and extraordinary maneuverability, allowing it to turn flexibly in fierce air battles in the skies of Europe. During the Battle of Britain in 1940, the Spitfire and its brother Hawker Hurricane became the shield, protecting the skies of their homeland, stopping the Nazi Air Force and contributing to changing the course of the war. Although originally built as an interceptor, the Spitfire was quickly adapted to a variety of missions, from high-altitude reconnaissance, ground attack, to bomber escort in campaigns spanning Europe, North Africa, and the Pacific. During its service from 1939 to 1945, the Spitfire went through 19 main versions and more than 50 subvariants, each one in its own way, stronger, faster, and increasingly more refined. From the original .303 Browning machine gun to the 20mm Hispano cannon, the Spitfire was constantly upgraded to match, and even outperform Germany's most formidable opponent, the Messerschmitt Bf 109. Today, the roar of the Merlin engine still echoes at air shows, reminding future generations of a symbol of courage, of the spirit of freedom, and of a time when the Spitfire truly held the skies over Britain. In the midst of the brutal Italian campaign during World War II, a U.S. Army soldier is seen intently aiming through the scope of a bazooka during combat training. His face shows concentration and determination, ready for the battles to come. The bazooka, the main anti-tank weapon, symbolizes the technological prowess and indomitable fighting spirit of American soldiers on the European front. In 1938, Nazi shock troops marched through the streets of Germany in an atmosphere of tension and hatred. They carried large signs with the inciting words, "Germans, defend yourselves, don't buy from Jews." The march was not only anti-Semitic propaganda, but also the opening step of a wave of brutal violence and discrimination that would later lead to the Holocaust. The Messerschmitt Bf-109, the pride of the German aviation industry, was an iconic fighter aircraft that served as the backbone of the German Luftwaffe during World War II. Designed by the genius engineer Willy Messerschmitt and his team in the mid-1930s, the Bf-109 was one of the world's first modern fighters. It featured a monocoque all-metal fuselage, a closed canopy to allow pilots to operate at high altitudes, and retractable landing gear, features far beyond the standards of the time. Powered by Daimler-Benz DB601 and later DB605 engines, the Bf-109 could reach speeds of over 600 kilometers per hour, climb quickly, and maneuver powerfully, making it a formidable opponent for all Allied aircraft, especially the British Supermarine Spitfire. Throughout the war, the Bf-109 was continuously improved through many variants, from the E, Emile model that fought in the Battle of Britain to the G, Gustav, and K, Kurfürst models, with more firepower, higher speed, equipped with MG-151/20 cannons and MG-131 machine guns, capable of confronting even American B-17 bombers. Not only a fighting machine, the Bf-109 was also the second home of legendary pilots, aces of the skies such as Erich Hartmann, Gerhard Barkhorn, or Gunther Rahl. They set unbelievable records. Hartmann alone shot down 352 enemy aircraft, a number never surpassed in the history of military aviation. By the end of the war, more than 33,000 Bf-109s had been produced, making it one of the most produced fighter aircraft in the world. Although born in a dark period, the Messerschmitt Bf-109 is still remembered as a technical masterpiece, a symbol of speed, German mechanical precision, and the tenacious spirit of the people who once dominated the skies of Europe. The Ilyushin Il-2 Sturmovik, the legendary destroyer of the Soviet skies, was one of the most famous and feared attack aircraft of the entire Second World War. Designed by Sergei Ilyushin, the Il-2 was born with a clear purpose: to directly support the infantry, crushing enemy tanks, artillery, and defensive positions. With a thick armor structure surrounding the cockpit, engine, and fuel tank, this aircraft was dubbed the Flying Tank, a nickname that both expressed respect and evoked its almost invulnerable power. Unlike light and fast fighters, the Il-2 was an armored beast, built to survive heavy anti-aircraft fire. It could carry bombs, RS-82 or RS-132 missiles, along with a 23mm or 37mm cannon and a 7.62mm machine gun, enough to destroy German motorized convoys, tanks, and fortifications. In the hands of brave Soviet pilots, the Il-2 became a constant nightmare for the Wehrmacht, especially on fronts such as Stalingrad, Kursk, and Berlin. One special feature that made the Il-2 immortal was its extraordinary endurance. Many returned to base with dozens of bullet holes in the fuselage, even missing part of the wing or severely damaged, but still landed safely. In the memory of many veterans, the Il-2 was not just a weapon. It was a steel comrade, a symbol of the strength and indomitable will of the Red Army. From 1941 to 1945, more than 36,000 Il-2 Sturmovix were produced, a huge number that made it the most produced military aircraft in human history. Today, every surviving Il-2 is a living witness to a time when strength, courage, and sacrifice were combined in the deep roar of the Mikulin engine, a sound that symbolized the victory and steadfastness of an entire nation. In August 1944, during the fierce days of the Warsaw Uprising, nurse Janina Stensnevska, nicknamed Inka, cared for the wounded soldier Edmund Mikniewski, Mish, in the field hospital of the Koszta Company. Next to them was their little daughter Hanya, a symbol of innocence in the midst of war. In the makeshift room, the groans of the wounded mixed with Inka's gentle voice, a testament to the never-ending kindness in the darkness of war. In the early 1940s, Australian soldiers marched through the El Alamein Desert, where hot sand and gunpowder mixed in a fierce battle against German and Italian forces. Under the scorching North African sun, they moved silently between the dunes, carrying with them an iron will and unyielding courage. The Battle of El Alamein became a symbol of the Australian Army's fighting spirit in World War II. The Boeing B-17 Flying Fortress. The legendary Flying Fortress of the United States Air Force is a symbol of strength, courage, and resilience in World War II. Born in the mid-1930s, the B-17 was America's first four-engine heavy bomber, designed to conduct strategic bombing missions at high altitudes during the day with great precision. The reason it was called the Flying Fortress was because the fuselage was covered with up to 13 12.7mm Browning machine guns, arranged in almost every direction: nose, tail, belly, sides, and upper turret, turning it into a flying block of steel that could defend itself against fierce attacks by German fighters. With its durable airframe and extraordinary ability to withstand damage, the B-17 became a legend of tenacity. Many returned to base in tattered condition, wings torn, one or two engines out, even missing the tail section, but still landed safely. That's what earned the pilots and crews the reverent nickname, the comrade who never dies. Throughout the war, the B-17 played a key role in the U.S. 8th Air Force's bombing campaigns over Europe, particularly in the battles for Berlin, Hamburg, and Schweinfurt. These missions were not only aimed at destroying Nazi industry, but also at weakening the enemy's fighting spirit. B-17 squadrons often numbered in the hundreds, forming huge formations, a majestic and haunting sight, with white smoke trails stretching across the smoky skies of Europe. In total, more than 12,700 B-17s were produced, and although they were later replaced by more modern models, such as the B-24 Liberator and B-29 Superfortress, the Flying Fortress name lives on as a symbol of courage and indomitable spirit, a testament to a time when the skies became the most fierce battlefield in human history. The consolidated B-24 Liberator was one of the greatest four-engine heavy bombers ever built by the United States during World War II. Designed by Consolidated Aircraft, the B-24 quickly became a mainstay of the United States Army Air Forces, USAAF, and many other allied forces, including the Royal Air Force, the U.S. Navy, and the Canadian Air Force. Unlike its more famous cousin, the B-17 Flying Fortress, the B-24 featured a Davis-type wing design, slender, long, and aerodynamically efficient, which gave it a top speed of over 290 miles per hour, 470 kilometers per hour, and a range of up to 2,200 miles, 3,500 kilometers, surpassing most bombers of its time. Thanks to that, the Liberator can carry out long-range missions, from bombing oil plants in Ploiesti, Romania, to hunting German submarines in the Atlantic, or bombing targets in North Africa and the Pacific region. Carrying up to 3,600 kilograms of bombs and armed with 10 12.7mm Browning machine guns, the B-24 was a nightmare for the Germans and Japanese. Despite its slender frame, the aircraft was remarkably durable, and American pilots called it the steel workhorse of war, unsophisticated but extremely effective. Between 1939 and 1945, more than 18,400 B-24 Liberators were produced, making it the most produced bomber in history. They appeared everywhere, from the deserts of North Africa to remote islands in the Pacific, from makeshift landing strips in Italy to cold bases in England. Today, the B-24 is seen as a symbol of America's industrial might and tireless fighting spirit. A testament to a time when flying fortresses carried not only bombs, but also hope, courage, and belief in the victory of the free world. The North American B-25 Mitchell, the legendary American medium bomber, is a symbol of courage, versatility, and indomitable fighting spirit in World War II. Named after the pioneering American Air Force General William "Billy" Mitchell, the B-25 proved that power comes not only from size, but also from boldness and sophistication in design. Equipped with two powerful Wright R-2600 Cyclone engines, the B-25 could reach speeds of more than 270 miles per hour, carry up to 3,000 pounds of bombs and a variety of weapons. From 12.7mm Browning machine guns to 75mm cannons mounted in the nose in some versions. Thanks to its short takeoff capability, good maneuverability, and high stability, the B-25 could operate in a variety of environments, from makeshift runways in the jungles of New Guinea to the decks of aircraft carriers in the middle of the ocean. The B-25's defining moment was the 1942 Doolittle raid, when 16 B-25s were launched from the deck of the USS Hornet to attack Tokyo, an unprecedented feat of daring. Despite heavy losses and no significant strategic damage, the attack raised the morale of the entire U.S. military and put the Japanese Empire on guard. In total, more than 9,800 B-25 Mitchells were produced, serving in almost every theater of war, from Europe, North Africa, to the Pacific. In the hands of experienced pilots, it took on many roles: medium bombing, ground support, anti-submarine warfare, even destroying enemy warships. Today, the roar of the Wright twin engines and the majestic flight of the B-25 still echo in air shows as a reminder of a machine that helped change the course of war. A steel warrior that was both sophisticated and brave, forever etching its name into the history of the world's skies. In the 1940s, amid the bloody Warsaw Uprising, desperate Jews were captured by the Nazis in the Warsaw Ghetto. They were herded into the desolate streets under the cold barrels of guns, their eyes filled with bewilderment and utter fear. Smoke, rubble, and screams combined to create a haunting scene of one of the darkest chapters in human history, a brutal defeat of faith and life. The Focke-Wulf FW-190, the second pride of the German Air Force after the Messerschmitt Bf-109, was dubbed the Wolf of the European Sky. When it was officially launched in 1941, this fighter stunned the Royal Air Force, RAF, because it possessed outstanding speed, excellent maneuverability, and extremely powerful firepower, enough to confront, even overwhelm, the early British Supermarine Spitfires. Designed by engineer Kurt Tank, the FW-190 was a testament to the sophistication of German aviation engineering. The first version, the FW-190A, used a BMW 801 radial engine with a capacity of 1,600 horsepower, providing impressive acceleration and high mechanical durability. a great advantage in fierce air battles. The fuselage was built solidly but still neat. The cockpit had excellent visibility to help the pilot control flexibly in all situations. Armed with the 20mm MG-151/20 cannon and the MG-17 machine gun, the FW-190 could easily destroy enemy bombers or fighters in just a few short bursts. Focke-Wulf continued to improve the aircraft to meet the harsh demands of the battlefield. The FW-190 F and G series were optimized for ground attack, carrying bombs, rockets, and even belly guns to destroy Allied tanks. The pinnacle of development was the FW-190D, Dora, equipped with a more powerful Junkers Jumo 213 inline engine, allowing the aircraft to reach speeds of over 680 kilometers per hour, enough to challenge even the most modern opponents of the late war, such as the P-51 Mustang. In total, more than 20,000 FW-190s were produced, serving on all fronts, from fierce dogfights over France and Russia to escort, interception, and tactical bombing missions. For many German pilots, the FW-190 was the most ideal aircraft they had ever flown. Powerful, versatile, and reliable. Today, the Focke-Wulf FW-190 is still regarded by aviation historians as one of the finest piston fighters ever built, a perfect counterweight to the British Spitfire and the American Mustang, a symbol of engineering, power, and ferocity in the skies of World War II. The P-51 Mustang is considered a masterpiece of World War II aviation engineering, and one of the most effective fighters ever flown by the Allies. Originally designed for the Royal Air Force, the P-51 quickly became the pride of the United States Army Air Forces, thanks to its perfect combination of speed, range, and firepower. When equipped with a Rolls-Royce Merlin V12 liquid-cooled engine, the Mustang could reach a top speed of over 700 kilometers per hour and a range of over 2,500 kilometers, enough to escort squadrons of B-17 and B-24 bombers deep into German airspace and return safely. With its optimized aerodynamic design, slender fuselage, and advanced laminar flow wings that reduced drag, the P-51 demonstrated incredible maneuverability in air combat. Armed with 6.50 caliber Browning machine guns, the Mustang could destroy everything from enemy fighters to trains and tanks on the ground. The most famous version, the P-51D, featured a bubble cockpit for all-round visibility and was the most produced variant. More than just an escort, the P-51 excelled in ground attack, reconnaissance, and even close support for infantry. From the skies of Europe to the Pacific, the P-51 Mustang was more than just a fighting machine. It was a symbol of American air superiority, a testament to the spirit of human ingenuity, tenacity, and the will to win in wartime. The Hawker Hurricane was one of the most iconic aircraft of the Royal Air Force, RAF, in World War II, and while it was often overshadowed by its more famous counterpart, the Supermarine Spitfire, it was the Hurricane that truly dominated the Battle of Britain in 1940. Designed by Hawker Aircraft's Sidney Cam, the fighter was a combination of cutting-edge technology and traditional construction. A sturdy, tubular steel frame, a fabric fuselage, and metal wings, making it both easy to manufacture and easy to repair on the front lines. The Hurricane was powered by powerful Rolls-Royce Merlin engines, capable of reaching a top speed of around 330 miles per hour, and carried 8 7.7mm Browning machine guns mounted along the wings, a firepower that could tear apart German bomber formations. While the Spitfire was often assigned to take on the Bf-109, the Hurricane was the nightmare of the heavily armed Heinkel and Dornier squadrons, repeatedly destroying them in the skies over Britain. With over 14,500 produced, the Hawker Hurricane was not only decisive in winning the Battle of Britain, but also served in many other theaters of war, from the deserts of North Africa, the Russian front, to Southeast Asia. Durable, reliable, and effective, the Hurricane is a symbol of quiet strength, representing the resilience and ingenuity of Britain during the darkest period of human history. This disturbing photograph captures the moment after World War II, when a French woman had her head shaved in public as punishment for allegedly collaborating or having relations with occupying German soldiers. Her face is blank, her eyes blank with shame and hatred, while those around her look on indifferently. The images reveal a dark chapter where honor and revenge collided with post-war rage. Amidst the bustle of a United Service Organization, USO, event circa 1943, a woman in a bikini gracefully walks among the ranks of smiling and amused American servicemen. Performances and entertainment like this were organized by the USO to ease the war fatigues, bringing joy and optimism to American soldiers serving in World War II. 3 young women, Janice Cooper, Marilyn Connor, and Gloria Ellickson, attracted all eyes while sunbathing at Steeplechase Park on Coney Island, New York, in the 1940s. What was special was that they wore unique swimsuits made from World War II Air Force escape maps, a meaningful gift from their pilot boyfriends. The image was both sexy, daring, and full of wartime imprints of a turbulent period. Amidst the sound of drills and metal collisions, these women were not only assembling planes, they were building hope for the world. When men went to war, they became silent warriors in factories. Their soft hands now held tools tightly, their steadfast eyes turned to the bomb-filled sky. War had robbed them of their youth, but it had also turned them into indomitable symbols of strength and courage. Amid the dust of war in London, a female member of the Motor Transport Training Corps is bent over changing a tire at the ARP station in Lambeth. Without makeup or fear of dirt, she grips the heavy tire with a determined gaze, a symbol of the steely spirit of women in wartime. In the sirens and shadows of war, she remains steadfast, proving that strength does not belong only to men. Although the war is long gone, its echoes still reverberate in every photo, every story, every scar of humanity. Each like, each subscription of yours is not only a show of support, but also a reminder that we will preserve that memory, so that the painful past will never be repeated.